Hi, I'm Kristen, and today I'll be talking about light patterns that occur during meditation prior to telepathic contact. So, these light patterns are called phosphenes, and they occur when light patterns can be seen without light entering into the eye. So, there are various theories about why these phosphenes are seen, but it can range from electrical signals in the brain to kind of magnetic interference. There is sometimes a physical cause of these phosphenes if somebody's like rubbing your eyes. Depending on the person, if you're rubbing your eyes, you might see like a checkerboard or kind of grid pattern appearing when you rub, or you might see kind of like a fuzzy circle appear that even when you open your eyes, then you can continue seeing it. Um, but for the purposes of talking about meditation, this does not involve touching the eyes or any kind of physical cause of seeing these light patterns. So typically, when I see phosphenes during meditation, I see these kind of fat rolling bands that start on one edge of my field of vision, then roll across. Other people might see completely straight lines. They might see swirls. They might see some kind of organic kind of rolling pattern. It's really different for everybody. Um, but it seems like the phosphine starting to occur during meditation is a way for the brain to bring the mind out of its normal, like lucid waking mindset and into a different type of energetic plane that makes it easier for somebody to receive contact. So typically, when I go into a meditation, I will see black, as everybody would with their eyes closed. And then this band would form on one edge. So the band would come typically from the right hand side, or it might start at the top and then start coming down. And after a certain amount of time, this pattern just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. And then in my case, it completely kind of like winks out. It completely disappears, and at that point, I start receiving kind of flashes of telepathic imagery. So in my case, when I receive these images, the phosphenes have left, and I'll see something that's either a still image, which I could, because it flashes so fast, it's there in half a second and then it's gone. I'll just see like one small area of the image that's being given, and kind of with my peripheral vision within my mind, I'll see the whole bigger picture, but I won't be able to make out details except for like the one small area that I was looking at. In certain other instances, I can receive for maybe a second long, like something that almost appears to be like a GIF. So it'll still be like a really simple image, but it'll have a little bit of movement that I'm able to see, and then it's gone. I know that there are other meditators and other people that use meditation for contact, like through the gateway tapes, that they might have kind of a different set of visuals happening to them than I typically have happening. So I know that there are other people that they go from seeing black and they go to seeing these phosphenes. And the phosphenes, in their case, instead of seeing bands or something rolling across the field of vision, they might see something that is centered just within the middle. And as it either expands outward or it kind of condenses in towards the center, they might end up receiving their visual contact kind of as the central image within the phosphenes. So I know that there are certain people that I've read about who they could have these bands of light or these kind of like zigzags coming out, and as they focus down into the center, they might see a face appearing, or they might see a location, or just whatever it is that's being projected to them. They might see the actual face of a gray or a mantid. Just whatever it is that's trying to contact them, they might put it right in the middle of the phosphenes, while they continue to occur around the edges. And then as the meditation gets deeper and further in, then those phosphenes might either fade out, or they will just expand so far outside of the field of vision that you just can't see them anymore. And one of the reasons why I was thinking about this recently is because I was working on a very specific type of meditation about a week ago, and the phosphenes changed from what I typically see. So I kind of wanted to come on here and mention that even if you see these kinds of light patterns in one way over and over and over again, that's not saying that they won't change. They definitely could change. So in the experience that I had, I was following the Living in the Heart or Living from the Heart meditation by John Melchizedek, excuse me. Um, and he mentions meditating in order to go up to God or source and kind of send love outward, and then feel as God is bringing that love back down into you. And then he mentioned that you would do the same thing with sending like love down into the earth with like a kind of grounding energy, and feeling like there this pulling up or this kind of energetic growth coming up into you that's kind of a reciprocation from God. And so I was beginning to do this meditation, and I hadn't really thought about anything. I hadn't focused on sending my energy up or down or anything like that. I just had the intention that I would be working on this kind of heart-based, heart chakra focused type of meditation. And rather than seeing the normal kind of rolling lines that I would typically see, I saw something that was shaped like a thumb. I'd say it wasn't explicitly trying to look like a body part or look like a thumb, but it was like this type of shape, where it went it was like a phosphine line that like went up and down, from the bottom of my field of vision. And so, as that appeared, with my eyes closed, I saw a band coming down from the top, and as it was coming down, it would kind of come down as a line, and then it would like wrap around, this kind of like thumb or finger shaped kind of phosphine, and then it would move downwards. Um, and I really want to kind of point out just how strange that is, because I know a lot of people, once they start meditating, they start seeing kind of weird, bizarre things, and it's completely normal. You kind of just have to expect that there'll be strange looking things that will come up during your meditations that you don't know why you're seeing it, what it means. And it's just something that you have to just kind of accept. So that kept on repeating. So it was like this line moving down over this like curved type of shape, and then folding around it, and then disappearing, and it went on and on. And then I saw a line, that came from the top of my field of vision, but it wasn't this kind of brassy, golden, dim looking line that was coming down anymore. It was a line of fire. It was like a low burning kind of orange, yellowish type of fire, and it had a very harsh, defined bottom line, and then it was like a little bit softer on top, just like if you had lit the edge of a piece of paper on fire, kind of like what that would look like. And what that really reminded me of is like kind of these orange orbs that people see sometimes. The orange orbs tend to look like, yeah, like a low heat, or low burning fire that's kind of like a swirling orangey yellow plasma type of look to it. And that kind of seemed to be what I was seeing within this phosphine. And that was really unique to me recently, because every other time that I've really seen these, they are like a dim golden color, or dim brassy grayish yellow type of color. So that was really the strongest kind of visual that I've seen of one of these patterns before. And so, from that point on, I did move into the, actual heart-based meditation that I was intending on doing. And so I kind of felt energy coming up from my heart chakra, and going up to God, and kind of intending to send this up as a type of gratitude, and kind of sitting and waiting to see if God received it or would respond. So I sent it up, and then I sent that energy downwards, and I could feel it kind of coming out of my body and then waiting. And so what ended up happening next is that I kind of felt like a billowy type of sheet that was coming down over me and landing over the top of my body. And so a lot of kids probably have this memory of when you're like a little kid and you're laying on the bed, and somebody is making, like, your one of your parents, your grandparents, or whoever is making the bed, and they take like the really light top sheet, and they kind of fluff it and throw it over the bed like while you're laying on it, and it just like slowly kind of, comes down through the air and then lands on you. I had like that very explicit kind of clear feeling of energy like billowing slowly and lightly down onto my body, but it was like this strong feeling of love. And it was, yeah, this feeling of the love I had sent out coming back to me, except in a lighter, more carefree, I don't know, just kind of like all encompassing type of feeling. And so after that sensation kind of faded away, I started seeing the phosphenes again. And again, this is the first time that I've ever had this happen during a meditation. I started seeing 3 different types of shapes that were coming from different fields, parts of my field of vision. So from the top left and right of my vision, I was seeing like these kind of just like curved types of shapes. So kind of shaped like that. And at the bottom, it was just like a triangle shape. And so it very slowly started coming together, like the two like sides coming from the top, and then the bottom was coming up to meet it. And so, as you could probably see, it was like forming like a heart in the center of my field of vision. So once it got to the middle, it would fade out, and then again it would be like these curved pieces coming back down with like this little triangle at the bottom, and it just kept making a heart and making a heart and making a heart. And then eventually it just kind of faded away, and that was the end of the meditation. Um, but I really did want to point out this kind of experience that I had, because it was so specific to the type of meditation I was having and the type of contact I was wanting to have, that was based in love and based in the heart, that um, I was pretty surprised to actually start seeing a heart within my mind with these phosphenes. I mean, anytime I had thought of phosphenes in the past, I was thinking about kind of the electrical explanation for how these occur, and as the brain is kind of switching from one mode to another, and there's different kinds of electrical signals that are communicating within the brain, I just kind of assumed that these patterns were essentially random before the brain was kind of acclimated to being in a certain way to receive contact. I didn't think that there was meaning behind the shapes, I suppose. But this meditation that I just had, obviously, that is not true. It seems like the patterns that are seen are quite deliberate, and in some cases are meant to appear in a certain way to convey a certain message. So seeing these phosphenes as a heart was the message in and of itself. So even if I hadn't had that sensation of feeling love coming back to me, just seeing these phosphenes creating this shape, it would have given me all of the information that I was supposed to receive. Um, so I know that there are so many different other ways that people have experienced phosphenes, even besides what I've already mentioned. I know that's Drunvalo in his book, he talked about people going into meditation, they might see like somebody who is looking at a TV, or they would see a TV themselves, and on the TV they would be seeing something from the future, or they would be seeing a past relative, or something like that. But there are just so many different ways that these phosphenes can lead into something else that is quite unique to the person that is experiencing it. So those have really been my experiences with phosphenes, but I know there's so many other ways beyond even what I've already mentioned that people can experience these types of light patterns. Um, Even in certain cases, in the instances where somebody might see an image starting to appear at the center of the light patterns that are either moving in or moving out, they might feel like they're being pulled into the central image of the communication that they're receiving. And at that point, they might see a series of pictures that are coming through, or they might see a longer scene playing out, or even in certain rare instances, somebody might start seeing something that is going to happen in their own future. Um, I know there's also people that have seen these types of light patterns, and they might be sitting just on looking at one type of object, or one image of somebody or someplace, and while they're looking at this, they might end up receiving an entire series of downloads, and just a lot of information coming in about it could be something that's personal to them, or it could be something that is more metaphysical. It really depends on the person, but the experience that every experiencer would have with this type of meditation is completely different. You really don't know what to expect. I thought I knew what to expect before when I kept on seeing the same types of phosphenes, but now that it is changed, I know that there are many different things that somebody can see, and it's not limited to just one person seeing things in one way and another person having their experiences in another way. It can kind of go across an entire kind of spectrum of experiences with how these phosphenes come in. So, thank you so much for listening today. And if you've ever seen these, or if you've ever heard any kind of crazy stories about um, something that somebody has seen or experienced while in one of these types of meditations, please let me know. So, thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.